In this video, I present you the 5 crucial steps you need to go through before you send your cards in for grading. By any means, if you have a favorite card and you don't care about increasing the value, you can go to step 2, assessing the card condition.
For those who didn't skip this step, the most important question is, which card, once graded, is more valuable before you send it off to PSA? This is crucial because you invest a serious amount of money to get your card graded. The first step in order to obtain this information is by researching the price history. Our go-to tool is 130point.com/sales, where you can get a quick insight of the completed sales via eBay, the graded ones and the ungraded ones, which we call raw cards.
Our rule of thumb is as follows. If the PSA 10 card sold for less than $100, you're better off selling it raw. So you should focus on case hits, numbered cards, silver cards of the more popular sets, which we covered in the video in the right upper corner. Of course, everybody would like to see a PSA 10, because those cards have a serious multiplier if you compare them to a decent PSA 9. But what factors determine the outcome of a grade? Here we go.
One of the more important and somewhat easiest to spot, especially when buying cards online, is the centering of the image. If you zoom in on the card and divide the space between the image and the edge of the card in percentages, you can make a reasonable estimate on how the card will grade on that particular area. Here are some examples of cards that have centering issues.
The condition of the corner of the cards is somewhat harder to spot, and you just can't determine if it's good enough with a naked eye.
We advise you to purchase a magnifying glass. A small investment, but it will save you loads of money in the long term. I have multiple raw cards in my possession that look pristine in a one touch. But when I got them out and assessed the corners with a magnifying glass, I noticed that the corners were somewhat flawed. The thicker cards, from 35 point and up, almost always have soft corners due to their thickness. If you would like to grade them, I advise you to use BGS, short for Beckett, where they give you subgrades, so you still end up with a 9.5, even if the corners are an 8.5. Edges are the 4 sides of a card and are relatively easy to spot. Some cards have some serious chipping issues where the edge of the card isn't clean. It could be some wear, but also the cutting of the card by the manufacturer plays a pivotal role in this particular area. Last but not least is the condition of the surface of the card, and this is the most difficult to spot. Scratches, print lines, dents, stains all come into play, especially with the modern day cards with a chrome finish. You just can't determine the condition of the card with a naked eye, and you should have to hover above the card with a magnifying glass to get a real feel and sense of the surface. If you have determined that at least 3 of the 4 categories I just mentioned are flawless, well, then it's time to send in the card for grading, but not before you do this. A thing like a fingerprint on your card can cost you a gem mint grade. So how do you clean the chrome cards? Well, you only need a microfiber cloth, which is very cheap. Any cleaning product with chemicals in it is a hard pass and will hurt the condition of the card. After you clean the card, you can always use the magnifying glass to check if you did a good job.
There are 2 ways of sending your cards in for grading. Direct via the PSA website or via group submissions.
A group submission often gives you a quicker turnaround time, lower prices and additional services. But beware, when there's money involved, there are scammers. During our journey, we came across a lot of options, but one of the most trustworthy, in our opinion, is GotBaseballCards.com, who does a lot of group submissions. PSA have different service levels. Beware of your declared value of the card, because PSA could potentially upcharge you. Let me give you an example. If you send in a raw card, which you valued $300 to the economy level and it comes back as a gem mint PSA 10, and they find your card now worth $2,500, they probably increase the submitting fee by $100 as you can see on the screen. For the premium cards, worth thousands of dollars, well, you will be charged a lot more. All the information you can find on the PSA website. Of course, every serious collector penny sleeve the card and probably top load it. But when sending cards into grading, you will have to take a different course of action. For starters, you need oversized penny sleeves, 130 point for instance, which make life a bit more easier to get the card in and out. Then, you put the card into a semi-rigid card saver, not a top loader. In this way, PSA can easily cut the card saver in order to get the card out. Once you have completed these steps, it's time to get your cards ready to ship. If you use a submitting form and have multiple cards, well, place them in that order. Then carefully wrap them in bubble plastic and place them in a small box where the cards can't really move. Then put that tiny box into a larger box with peanuts or something else to keep it in its place. Don't forget to insure the parcel and make use of the signature required option.
Well, that's it. Now it's out of your hands and the only thing you can do is simply wait and wish for a PSA 10 gem mint. I hope you find this video helpful and I hope I deserve your like, maybe a subscription? Who knows? Hope to see you next time.